Alright, and that concludes our video this week on the Polar Tang. Thank everybody for watching. Really, it's been a big help for this new series I've been doing. Actually, that reminds me of a funny story before I go.
Well, you just look ridiculous. Oh, hey man, you're back. That's great. How was Florida? Did you get a tan? No, okay, you clearly did not get a tan. You're white as a sheet as always. But hey, did you have fun? That's what really matters. Did you have fun? Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. We went to the Haunted Mansion. A ghost blew a balloon in my face. That was pretty cool. Anyway, what are you up to, buddy? Oh, right. Well, you were gone for like a week or so, and, someone had to keep this channel afloat. So that's when Law Tekking took over. I decided to do the 7 days of law. And to answer your next question, I was not going to pose that question. It was an entire 7 days filled with nothing but Trafalgar D water law videos. Granted, after about day 4, I started to run out of ideas, but I managed to pull through, and hey, the numbers don't lie. I think that this is the gateway for a whole new style of video making. I might even get even more popular than you. I think I'm going to start my own channel. I think I have a knack for it. You know the microphone's not even plugged in, right? Oh! Well, I mean, like, I could always dub over the lens cap on the webcam is closed. Huh. Oh, and also the computer is turned off. You don't say! It's funny, you get so enraptured in your own performance, you kind of just completely... Damn it, I'm a doctor, not a freaking videographer, okay? Here, do your freaking show. I'm gonna go make waffles. Okay then. Back to it, kids! Teching tumble! Okay. Well, that was fun. It's time that we get back to it. Do you want me to do a law week? I could do one if you really, really wanted me to. Like, no, that sounds like a fun idea. You should do that sometime. Like, alright, let me know below. I could go, because Law is a great character. He really is. I should go down and make a list of, like, I could probably squeeze out 7 videos involving Law. Alright. So, yeah, I'm back from vacay. It's been a lot of fun, but also I want to get back to doing videos, because, as you can imagine, this is kind of my thing. And with that being said, I came up with the perfect idea for a video. A video about the mysterious group of pirates that are known only by name. In fact, that's all we really know about them. Just their name. And even that is kind of subject for debate in the fandom because of the way L's and R's are pronounced in the One Piece world. But don't worry, I'm me, so even though that's all we know about them, I could still churn out like a, 20-25 minute video about the subject matter. As for what that name is, well, take your pick. It can either be Rocks or Locks, if you're into that. Wordplay. Alright, yeah, so, this is a group that was mentioned by Garp rather recently in the story during Reverie. Here's a manga panel to illustrate what I mean. Oh wait, can't do that. Okay, here's a picture of Garp while I lay over what he said in the manga. There's no doubt that before Roger came along, it was their era. But that was more than 40 years ago. It would be a real threat if they were to make a comeback. It'd be an incident too far beyond our imaginations to do anything about it. Ooh, got a shiver down my spine there. See, that's the cool thing about One Piece. Just when you think you know what's going on, just when you think you got the timeline nailed, that's when Oda introduces a whole new concept. It's just like, oh yeah, by the way, there was this huge pirate crew that was around before Roger's era about 40-odd years ago. Yeah, they were the king of the seas back then. Didn't know about them, did you? Well, now you do! Mystery! Now, there's been a lot of debate regarding whether or not the Rocks Pirates or the Locks Pirates are going to be showing up in the actual story, canon-wise, or we're going to go kind of the Shakky route with this. Shakky, the Golden Lion, was mentioned in the manga, kind of name-dropped by a few characters. In fact, when Shanks went to go meet Whitebeard after the events of Enies Lobby to warn Whitebeard about Blackbeard and everything, oh my god, I just got that! Whitebeard and Blackbeard! Okay, Whitebeard, get this, I'm just gonna minor tangent really quick. Whitebeard was the good guy, and that was symbolically represented by his white facial hair. And then Blackbeard, who was the evil one, is represented by his black facial hair. Okay, got that. Anyway, when Shanks was talking to Whitebeard, I think in the original draft that Oda wanted to do, Whitebeard was going to name drop Shakky amongst Sengoku and Garp and everybody, but he didn't. And I think the reason for that is he didn't want it to get too confusing. Now, Shakky has yet to make an appearance in the actual manga, with the Straw Hats, confronting them or anything, and that might never happen. I really wish it would, but it might never occur. His thing was the Strong World movie that happened, but Shakky is in fact still canon. The events of Strong World, when they go to Merville and everything, and they're floating in the sky and all that crap, that didn't happen in the manga, but Shakky does exist. So that's the theory, because we know there's a new One Piece movie in the works, because there usually always is. Maybe the Rocks Pirates will be appearing there, and then the Straw Hats will confront them, and they'll have their own little, scuffle there. It's always very likely that later down the line in the One Piece story, when we have flashbacks, revolving around Garp or something, which has to happen at some point, we need to get we didn't really flesh out, Garp's backstory. All we really have there is his confrontation with Don Chinjiao, and that was more of Chinjiao's backstory than Garp's, but Garp was a central figure there. I could see having a flashback, and we could see Shakky in the flashback, and we could see the Rocks Pirates in the flashback, and all that crap. But in terms of them actually appearing in the actual story, I don't know whether or not Oda was just trying to build up for a movie, or if he was setting stuff up for later on. But what about the Rocks Pirates, or the Locks Pirates? What's really going on with them? Okay, well, first off, a little bit of a confusion thing beyond just the name alone, and once again, the reason why there's the confusion there is because L's and R's are, they're pronounced a very similar sounding way in Japanese. Personally, I would like the Rocks Pirates to be that, maybe Rocks with an X, that looks pretty cool. Locks, I mean, it's cool and everything, I guess, but I think Rocks is just a better name, really. Like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, yeah! I don't watch wrestling, but, I saw, what was that movie? The Tooth Fairy. Yeah, I actually saw that. It was horrible. But, yeah, that's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Yeah, okay. Anyway, many people have also been confused by whether or not the name of the captain was in fact Rocks or Locks, or was that just the name of the crew? Keep in mind, Roger had the Roger Pirates. Roger was his name, and he was also the leader of the crew. So, that was also named Roger Pirates. So, it could be possible that Rocks was the actual guy's name. That's why whenever I'm talking about him, I refer to him. Now, the terrifying thing, though, is not just about the captain. It's the way that Garp discussed their current status in the world when Hina mentioned it. Because remember, the thing is, Rocks Pirates, they existed about 40 years ago, or rather 40 years ago, that's when they were in their heyday. That's when they were the rulers of the sea, before Roger. Now, Roger was around 40 years ago, but he was more of a rookie. He was where, Luffy and the gang is at right now. People knew about Roger, and he was gathering steam in the pirate world, but he had yet to become the true king of the pirates. He had yet to discover Raftel. He had yet to set up the legend of the One Piece, okay? So, while, just the same right now, like when Luffy and the Straw Hats are sailing the seas, it's the Yonko, it's Kaido and Big Mom and Blackbeard and Shanks. They're the rulers of the world. Right when Roger was beginning his journey sailing the world, it was the Rocks Pirates that everybody revered. Maybe he was part of the earlier rendition of the Yonko, if there was an earlier rendition of the Yonko. There might have been, there might not have been. It might have just been the Rocks Pirates. They might have been the ones that just ruled the entire sea. Because the way Garp talks about them, he mentions they are not to be screwed with. And he even goes on to say that if they were ever to find their lost captain, if the Rocks Pirates ever attained the level that they had back then, we're just screwed. There's nothing we could do about it. Think about it. That's Garp we're talking about here. Garp is the one giving this message of absolute destruction to the other Marines, and he's doing it casually. Because I think he's pretty sure that they're not going to be making a comeback, but the way he says it is just so nonchalantly. He's eating at Reverie, after he drops off Shirahoshi, him and the other vice admirals are getting together for a little, lunch, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Rocks Pirates, Hina, I'm surprised that you mentioned them. Yeah, back in the day, well, the Rocks Pirates were crazy. Let me tell you something, though. I mean, don't worry about it, because they're probably not going to be showing up, because that was a long time ago. If they would have made a move, they would have made it already. But if they ever did attain the, level they were at right now, the current status quo, there's no way that we would be able to fight them back. They would totally wreck our shit. 8 ways to Sunday. Pass the noodles." But I think basically what Garp was getting across here is that the current flock of Marines, the way they are now, they're just too weak to deal with rocks. I think back during Garp's heyday, the Marines were like a lot tougher. You had Sengoku as an admiral. You basically had Garp as an admiral too. He was offered the position many times. He just kept turning it down. Doesn't matter. Garp in his heyday is still easily admiral level. There was another admiral as well. Kong was the freaking fleet admiral back then. So maybe Garp was talking about it in the sense of like, back in my day, you know, because Garp is 78 years old right now, but back in my day when I was in my 30s and everything and I was tearing crap up, you know, I was busting, you know, drill-headed pirates into the ground and stuff like that, we had real Marines back then. Real tough-as-nails Marines. You know, we got into the salty spittoon free every Friday night. That's how tough we were. Yeah, and so now the Marines are really strong, but probably not even close, because it was way more chaotic back in Garp's day. Way more chaotic. Considering the situation back when, like, the Grand Line was less explored. Now, you might say, a counter to that argument, you might say, well, Matt, when Roger was captured and he, you know, he started the Great Pirate Era by announcing, you know, the One Piece, wouldn't that mean that the current era is worse off? Well, look at it this way. I think there's a lot more pirates right now than there were back then, because Roger made piracy cool, you know? But back then, the Grand Line was basically unexplored, and it was way more risky to do it, and these rocks pirates basically were causing a major problem in the seas. Now, we don't exactly know the event which caused them to be separated, what happened to their captain, because the way Garp's talking about it, he doesn't say Rocks is straight up dead or anything, more or less like he left his crew through some circumstance occurred. Alright, so I want to say, yeah, there's a lot of strong pirates on the seas right now. That's beyond question. But I think there's a lot more posers. I think there's a lot more kids that are just like, I want to be a pirate because Roger! And then they go out to the seas, and most of them fall flat on their faces. Or they get, you know, they get mixed in with another stronger crew. Or something like that. Kind of what would happen with Ace a little bit. Ace was not weak by any means, but, you know, he got pulled into the Whitebeard crew and stuff like that. You have the Supernovas, of course. They're pretty badass, but, yeah, I'm just saying that back in Garp's heyday, it was probably just, you know, there were less pirates out on the sea, but the ones that were around, especially the ones that managed to navigate the Grand Line, which was much more dangerous, you know, 50-some years ago, those are the ones that were maybe a little bit more, you know, you had to be more, you know, fearful of, okay? So that's what I'm talking about there. Now, I'm going to throw up a little timeline here for you guys, because I want to go into something here, and this something is going to involve our favorite rock and roll skeleton, Brook D. Skeleton. I'm sorry, just Brook. Just right now, it's just Brook. If he had the will of D, I wouldn't be surprised. Spoiler alert, everybody on the Straw Hat crew has a D. Brook is someone that would have definitely have heard of the Rock's crew, alright? That's the cool thing about Brook. He is 90 years old, so whereas he doesn't have, like, the book smarts like Robin does, because Robin is a straight-up scholar, and raised in O'Hara, and she constantly is reading books about archaeology and history, so Robin is, like, really good with that stuff. But in terms of, like, first-hand experience, you know, you can't overlook Brook, because he's been around for so long. Now, granted, he spent most of his, second life afloat on a, you know, dilapidated ship in the middle of a foggy sea, not really getting picked up on the news. Who knows, maybe every now and then a news coup would have flown into the Florian Triangle, gotten lost, and Brook managed to, you know, find the newspaper or something. Maybe he kept up to date. I don't know. Probably not, though. But still, when he was alive, he was part of a convoy for his original kingdom, which was somewhere in the West Blue. We don't exactly know what kingdom he was from, but he was a battle convoy, you know, commander there, and then eventually he joined the Rumbar Pirates, and they began their journey into the Grand Line, which, once again, back then, when Brook was, like, in his 30s, sailing along with Yorkie and the Rumbar crew, the Grand Line was very unexplored at that point. Not just the New World. Imagine, like, Paradise being the New World in terms of level back then, and then the New World back then was, like the gourmet world from Toriko. It's like you go in there and it's like the weather's doing stuff that doesn't even make any sense, and it's just like you almost would die instantly, you know? So, that's the status where they were at right then. And Brook has brought this up a few times. His knowledge of the past has been referenced. It's been referenced when they were talking about Wano that one time, when Zoro brought up Samurai at Punk House. He's like, hey, that guy on the Den Den Mushi, he mentioned he mentioned Samurai. And then Brook was the one that actually went into the backstory involving Wano. Now, you could say, well, he would know that because Ryuma and everything involving his shadow, but I think it would make more sense that he had at least heard of Wano beforehand, and he's just telling them the story. Once again, Robin probably knows about Wano as well at this point, but Brook was the one that actually remembered from probably like back in the day he was told about this. Something else that gets brought up is during Sabaody when they met Shakky. By the way, Shakky in the last SBS pretty much confirmed that she is part of the Rock's crew as well, at least allied with them or part of them. What if Shakky is the captain? I just thought of that. Okay, I was gonna go on a whole thing involving Brook just now. I was gonna do a timeline. We're still gonna do that. I'm gonna do like a timeline involving like Brook and his past and how he would have synced up with this, but I just thought of that. Holy crap! Wouldn't that be perfect? Wouldn't that be amazing? Like, think about it. Shakky was chased around by Garp back in the day. She has to be pushing 70 years old. She looks like a 15 out of 10. She's got big old personality, a rockin' body. You know, why is that important? Well, because it's One Piece, and if you're gonna make a villain, you gotta make them, you know, super sexy. Well, except in Big Mom's case, but usually it has to, after an interesting design. Okay. And the reason that she left is because she fell in love with Rayleigh, who was the first mate of Roger's crew, and so she just decided to screw the pirate life and fell in love and left, and then the crew disbanded, so they didn't know what to do, and then, you know, Roger got taken out by the Marines, and he was executed at Logtown, so Rayleigh had nothing else better to do, so they decided to get together, go to Sabaody, and live a happy life whatsoever. No one even knows who they are! I gotta make a video about that now. I gotta make it. Because I was thinking too small. Because in the last SBS, someone asked him a question, like Shakky mentioned to Luffy that Garp chased her around 40 years ago, and then they was like, hey, 40 years ago, that's the same amount of time that the Rocks Pirates were around. Is Shakky connected to the Rocks Pirates at all, Oda-sensei? And Oda didn't actually come out and say yes. What he did do is he did like the, oh, really? Is she? La 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 la, I am not listening. You know, so obviously, like, I'm caught in a lie, oh crap, you're on to me. Very obviously telling us that yes, there is a connection between Shakky and the Rocks Pirates, but I was thinking too small. I thought she was just maybe a member of the crew. What if she was the captain? That would make so much sense. She hangs out with Rayleigh. She's implied to be ridiculously strong. She might have a devil fruit, who knows? We didn't really get a lot of screen time with Shakky back during Sabaody. We really didn't get that much of it. But, yeah, that would be crazy. The only downside with that is that if Shakky was in fact the captain, why would she get back? Why would she join the crew again and cause the world to get turned into upheaval? Or maybe they never might. Like, just because Garp said it doesn't mean it's gonna happen. Garp brought up, you know, if they ever get back together at their full power, we're doomed. Just because he said that doesn't mean it's gonna happen. It could be a red herring on Oda's part. He might have thrown that in there just to get us kinda... But that might not actually go down. But if it were to go down, just make it a movie, and then have like the Rocks pirate crew get back together and get them really powerful and fight against the, you know, the Straw Hats, trying to find their lost captain, and then at the end of the movie we find out Shakky was the captain all along. That's how you would do it. Like, she never does join up with them again. She never does joins the pirate life because she's married to Rayleigh. She's happy with that. So yeah. Like, did we ever, like, okay, like, we never saw Kizaru or anybody see Shakky, because when Kizaru ran into Rayleigh, you know, he knows immediately who he is. You know, he's the freaking Dark King Rayleigh. Everybody knows who Rayleigh is. Maybe if Kizaru ran across Shakky, he would have, you are, you know, you're the captain of the Rocks crew. Holy crap, you're here too? Alright, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna put that off the side for now, because that's a very rare thing that happens when I'm doing a video where I have like a sudden epiphany, like, boom! Alright, well, anyway, let's get back to what my video was about, and maybe we'll get back to that. Let me know what you think about that below. I mean, maybe I'm just headcanoning the crap out of this, but that sounds like a cool idea, alright? Anyway, okay. Anything to get more Shakky in the One Piece world, alright? Right, so, timeline. Now, the way I'm going to do this is on the left side of the timeline, I'm going to have it be 100 years before the current storyline, and then the right side is going to just be the current storyline, things that are happening right now in the story. Because Oda does not like to use, dated years in One Piece, and like in 1672, Sanji discovered the all blue. You know, he doesn't do the year dated things. So that's the way I'm going to do it. And then 10-year intervals. Okay, so just a few things on this timeline really quick. The first thing is that 90 years before the current storyline, that is when Brook was born. Then 78 years ago, Garp was born. 77 years ago, Roger was born. Now, 49 years ago, that is when Brook's entire crew, the Rumbar Pirates, were wiped out by a mysterious assailant. Who knows? They could have been the Rocks Pirates. And Brook, unfortunately, dies in that interchange. Now, 1 year later, 48 years ago, because Brook consumed the Yomi Yomi no Mi, he was able to return to life and then spend his days on the ship. Now, about 40 years ago, that's when Garp was stating Rocks was the true king of pirates. Now, when he says that, he didn't mean it like an exact date. Like, it was exactly 40 years ago this year that Rocks became the height of his power, had the height of his power, or whatever. He was just generalizing, like, yeah, about 40 years ago when I was in my late 30s, around there, that's when Rocks was at the height of power and ruled the entire ocean. Okay, so around 40 years ago. Now, also something important to put on this timeline here is that around 50 years ago, Roger was a rookie pirate, because when Brook was talking about this with Shakky, when they mentioned Roger's name, Brook obviously didn't really know anything about Roger in any real capacity, because he was on the ship for all the time that Roger became the king, and then was captured in the whole One Piece, you know, go out there and find it, me hearties, you know, Brook wasn't there for all that. So Brook is sitting there eating, and he's just remembering vaguely, he's like, oh, yes, Roger. Yeah, I think there was like a rookie pirate by that name when I was, you know, out sailing around. Yo-ho-ho-ho-ho. Anyway, Shakky-san, can I see your panties? She actually showed them to him, too, so that's another reason why I want to see more Shakky in One Piece. I think we all want to see more Shakky in One Piece. But anyway, yeah. So around 50 years ago, that's when Roger became a rookie. So far, just looking at this timeline, and then add on, like, 24 years ago, that's when Roger died, you know, and he did the whole thing starting the Great Pirate Era and all that stuff. Looking at this timeline right here, it doesn't seem too ridiculous that during the time Brook was sailing around with the Rumbar crew around 50-odd years ago, the Rocks Pirates were making waves as the rulers of the ocean. Meanwhile, Roger was probably going along the same way at the Rumbar Pirates level. They were sort of like an up-and-coming pirate crew just trying to make a name for themselves back then. Maybe that's why Brook remembers him. Maybe Brook was sailing out in the Grand Line for a little while, and maybe, like, if we were going to have, like, the supernovas back during Brook's time, maybe he and Yorkie would have considered themselves supernovas. I can't remember what their bounties were. I know Brooks was only 33, so it wasn't that great. But maybe back then, like, you know, Roger took another route on the Grand Line, and right around the same time, they were kind of traveling the seas at the same time. Something like that. But just by looking at this timeline, yeah, it's not too ridiculous to think that, yeah, Brook knew about Rocks, knew about his existence, knew all about their pirate crew. In fact, it might have actually have been Rocks' crew that decimated the Rumbar Pirates. We thought that was the Germa Double Six, because Brook was also aware about them. I think it was something like, oh man, I can't remember how many years ago exactly it was when Judge stated it, but he did state that the Germa ruled over the northern seas for about 66 days, and that was their dream. That's why they're called the Germa Double Six, to reclaim those lost 66 days. You know, but that's not really here involved with that. We assume that they might have been the crew that wiped out the Rumbar Pirates because they used poison weapons or anything, but that plot, that really didn't go anywhere. So it might have, in fact, been Rocks. So, what I think is going to happen, if we're going to go the route with this, with the movie, let's just say that's going to go down, like the movie's going to happen, all right? The Straw Hats might run across a straggler from the Rocks crew, or maybe the Rocks Pirates are all still together somewhere, they're just without a captain, so they're all hanging out on an island somewhere, and then the Straw Hats run across them, and then they find out who they are, and then Brook actually is the one to explain to them. It's like, oh, ho, 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 okay, guys, I have to tell you, I gotta lay some important deets on you right here. Yeah, the Rocks crew, they were basically the king of the pirates, you know, before Roger's time, during my time, when I was still alive, and they're the ones that actually wiped out my crew. and they're responsible for my first death. You know, and so I could see Brook doing that. I could see him sitting, because I want to see more from Brook. I want to see Brook actually be like, oh, okay, like, you know, it's always fun to be, you know, 45 degrees, it's always fun to be silly and goofy, but it's really cool every now and then he can actually, like, all right, I've been around for a long time, I'm an old skeleton, I can tell you some stuff, all right, I've seen some shit, all right? So he tells them all about this, and, oh, wait, okay, I just discovered a problem with my Shakky theory. If that was in fact the case, then Brook would have maybe recognized Shakky as the captain. You know, but then again, you could say maybe even if she was a member of the crew, you know, maybe Brook would have recognized her there as well, because she's definitely connected to the Rock's crew, and I'm sure Brook would have at least heard of them. If they're not the crew that decimated the Rumbar Pirates, that's just a theory I came up with just now, Brook would at least been aware of them, but maybe he would have never seen them, what they look like, just heard the legend. Alright, so that kind of throws a wrench in that. Either that, or Shakky she could have always wore some kind of disguise back then, so you wouldn't know it was her, or it might have not have been her that wiped out the crew, it might have been, you know, just the Rock's pirates themselves. She stayed on the ship or something, so yeah, that's kind of thing. Oh wait, I just remembered! Brook doesn't have any eyeballs, so that's why he didn't recognize her. Yo! But anyway, that's involving the movie. How it could really deal with, like, the storyline in the manga right now, where the Rock's Pirate's gonna make an appearance there. And, that's kind of a problem, because you have just so much stuff going on right now with the Reverie and the Revolutionary Army and Blackbeard, and then the Straw Hats, they're eventually gonna have to, you know, confront the Marines and everything. This big epic war that's gonna start when someone finds the One Piece. The Minks and the stragglers of the Whitebeard crew, are they gonna do something? So it's just like a lot of stuff going on right now. Do we really need to add a new paradigm, which is the Rock's crew? Maybe, I don't know. I mean, Oda, if anything, he would be able to do it. I'm just saying, like, it does seem odd. Like, the same thing with Shakky. Like, I would like to see Shakky introduced in the manga and meet the Straw Hats, but it's just like, all the stuff going on right now with the Yonko and all that stuff would really be able to fit him in a way that didn't just seem like, you know, just shoehorned, like, oh, here's Shakky, he's here now. You know, but, hey, if you can make it work, what you would have to do, Oda, is you would have to do same thing you did with, like, the Germa Double Six and Big Mom. You know, in some ways, the Germa Double Six could have had their own arc, and then Big Mom could have had their own arc, but Oda took them together and, you know, threw them together into one thing. Maybe so it seemed like we're on track. So, like, the Straw Hats eventually have to go confront a Yonko, and then Oda decided just to throw the Germa in there, too, as Sanji's little side story, to make it like, alright, well, we're dealing with multiple things at once, but we're still on track. So, Oda might do something like that with Rocks. Like, the Straw Hats, after Wano, they have to go to Elbaf or something, and the Rocks crew is on Elbaf, and, like, they tied the two things together there. Maybe he'll do something along those lines. But anyway, what do you guys think about the Rocks Pirates, or the Locks Pirates, or if that's even what their name of their captain is? What do you feel about Shakky? Because Shakky might in fact be, well, she's definitely connected to the crew, might be the captain, I don't know! And what do you think about Brook's involvement with all this? Do you think Brook would have, you know, awareness of who the Rocks Pirates were, who their captain was? Do you think the Rocks Pirates were the ones that took out the Rumbar crew back in the day? What's up with that? But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. It's really good to be back here. I had a lot of fun at Disney. I also want to give a shout-out to CJ and his girlfriend, Alex. Very lovely couple that they were fans of mine, and they showed me around Disneyland because we would have been completely lost without them. They were really nice all day. Was it Disneyland or Disney World? Disney World, right? Yeah, it's Disney World. Yeah, they were super nice, great fans, and I would love to go down there and, you know, experience the park again. It was the first time I was ever in Disney. It was a blast. So I had a lot of fun on vacation. I'll do a live stream later this week, and I'll actually, you know, talk about that and all the stuff we did down there. But it was a lot of fun. So yeah, look forward to that. Thanks for watching, everybody. Comment below. Later. Signing out.